Messi knows more about angles than your math teacher. He knows more about physics than your science teacher. And that's a fact, guys. It's an absolute 100% fact. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here. Welcome back to our video here on the channel, and today we'll be addressing Barcelona's 5-0 victory over Eibar that couldn't come in a better moment as we face off against Napoli just in the Champions League. And what a better way for the elephant in the room, Lionel Messi, to score those 4 goals and get back into form just before our huge encounter in the UCL. It's literally perfect. I couldn't have written a better story. There's still some few points that we're gonna address in this video that need to improve, but overall Barcelona today put in a very compelling performance that, in my opinion, really signalizes that the Setien's message is actually falling to the right ears. They're listening and they are performing on it. So starting this video off directly with the goal itself, we need to talk about those 4 goals from Leo. Very first one, just simply an individual amazing effort from Messi, getting past those 3 defenders. The quick acceleration, the nutmeg on Arbilla was literally just the cherry on top. And at that moment, you just wanna stand up and praise. You say, we see this every day, but you're still amazed. It's wonderful how that happens. The consistency with which he do it, you know that Messi is never gonna just drop completely. He's always gonna be here. He's always gonna be scoring. He's always gonna be contributing. And Barça, for the longest of time, in the time being, they're always gonna be happy when he manages to contribute to us. The amazing thing for his second goal was the sheer angle, the tight angle, that's so acute, and he still manages to, in kind of a blitz of a second, simply being able to put it and slot it past Dimitrovic. Like I said, as much math as your math teacher and whatever, but he doesn't need that because he understands directly where the ball is gonna go, the physics of what it needs to be implemented to get it past that in just, like I say, in a quarter of a second. It's absolutely incredible what he did for that second goal. And the third one that came completely directly afterwards, it's just an example of not only him as a footballer, but also as a human, because he knew that Antoine Griezmann was struggling after getting that rebound, that kind of bad dispossession from the Eibar defender that Rakitic imposed on it. Then he passed it into Antoine Griezmann in the box. Antoine Griezmann missed that chance, but then Messi got back into it and scored. It was kind of like a lucky break. Yes, it was. Messi didn't, his first intention wasn't to score, even though he could, but that's just what makes him a great player, a captain and everything. And well, the final goal from Messi was, of course, that one in the last few minutes that came from an assist of Martin BRAITHWAITE. And this one was just a tap-in, but still, it just completely rounds up a good performance from him. And now I want to move to that second point that I want to stem from, and it's Martin BRAITHWAITE. As debut goal, I think that BRAITHWAITE put in a very good, decent performance. And he was a new breath of fresh air. I think his acceleration, the runs that he made were completely excellent. Really, like top tier. And it will be a player like that will help to unbalance certain opposition. He might not be directly the best kind of finisher, the best passer, but when it comes to the job that he can do, as players go, he's probably one of, I wouldn't say one of the best, but he's put a good performance to give us an argument as to why he might just be so. To a certain extent, he was actually a little bit even more involved than someone like Antoine Griezmann. We don't know, perhaps, of course, the work that Griezmann put in to make even those defenders just completely exhausted by the end, where then Martin BRAITHWAITE could take advantage of. It's still very, we have to give a lot of credit, but BRAITHWAITE also had to put a little bit of his own to try and make that happen. So I just gotta say that he's a nice addition, certainly, and one that I know we can be happy about, even though there's kind of this, of course, controversial surrounding and stuff like that. So good job on Martin BRAITHWAITE. I was really impressed by him, and congratulations for him in a great debut. Now, taking the analysis down a notch, I really want to praise Quique Setién for something, and that is the selection for this game. Initially, when I saw it, I was a little bit surprised. You know, the extra man in midfield, it made a lot of sense to try and contain the high line from Eibar, but I was a little bit worried that he wasn't going to be able to get as many chances produced. But thanks to everyone, actually, even people like Rakitic, which a bit contributed more to the attack in this game than others, and same like was Arturo Vidal, we were able to withstand the lack of someone like De Jong. Artur also in this game did absolutely wonderful. He was one of the best players at getting off his mark. They were constantly looking at him, and Artur was not completely phased when, I don't know, taking 2 steps backwards to then go 3 forward. That's the sort of player that Artur is. He knows what kind of needs to be done and does it. It's good having him back in the side. He didn't have, even though he contributed to 6 goals in the very first round, it's good to see that he's back with kind of a more fresher approach mentality, and it's nice that Quique Setién can give him that chance. I think he will be a player very useful in the game against Napoli, and let's hope that we can see him there as well. As the game developed, Barcelona, in my opinion, I don't want to say negative by any means. All their pieces were in the right places. Barcelona were associating correctly. The movement was there. The movement, which is so important that Quique Setién has put into a team, was also there. But it seems like the final touch or the kind of like final pass was a little bit too hard, too harsh. That's a part of our game that we need to kind of just tune a little bit, just smooth it out for that game against Napoli, because those little things, isolations, that bad pass, that dispossession are gonna cost us in an important game like the Champions League. So I just think that those individual things are kind of parts of a game that we need to fix. And I think the perfect players to talk about this are Ter Stegen, Busquets, and Semedo. All of them in one facet of their game were absolutely incredible. Ter Stegen was really good as Eibar's line kind of forced the quick passing options, the kind of primary options like Busquets. Ter Stegen most of the time was lining up like a third defender, and he was the main creative output at the back. Moreover to that, then players like Semedo and Junior Firpo were able to push further forward, and especially Semedo, using his acceleration, he was absolutely no match for Cote. For Jose Angel, he was game over. Semedo was one of the main outputs today, and it's nice to see that when we don't have Jordi Alba here, Semedo, if he's playing, he can step up to the plate, because a lot of the chances came out through him through the right hand side. And congratulations to Semedo on a very, very good performance. And finally, in addition, we see Busquets, a player that dictated the midfield correctly. With the extra man in the midfield, he was able to position himself better for more ball recoveries, getting 3 recoveries like in the span of like 10 minutes at the start of the game, which is very impressive for a player like him. So overall, all good. But those 2 players also lacked a little bit of what I was saying at the start. A little bit of that kind of lack of the smoothness or the kind of 100% sharpness. I think some of the passes were not the best that they could have done, and they got dispossessed well. They made the bad choice, but that just comes with more continuity to the game, and it's just one thing that can happen one day. I'm not saying it's going to happen the next game. It's not going to happen the next game against Napoli. It's not going to happen in a Clásico. Are just things of one day. So just keep it like that. It's super short term. These players today, their goods, their advantages, 100% overcome the negatives that they perform in this game. Those players being Ter Stegen, Busquets, and Semedo. So overall, guys, I gotta say a good performance from Barcelona, and this is a part perhaps where I wanna rate the performances of our teams. I don't know, you tell me in the comment box down below if you like this section, but I think Barcelona performed to a good standard. Even though we scored 5 goals, I don't think I can give it a 10 out of 10. If I could give man of the match, of course, has to go to Lionel Messi, but an overall team performance, I would say an 8 out of 10 was a good performance. Maybe even a 9 out of 10. To hit that 10 out of 10, we need just to be a little bit more sharp, like I was mentioning, but 9 out of 10, incredible game from Barcelona, and now it's just a good pillar to build onwards the game against Napoli. We have to be a little bit more sharp, like I said, we have to be a little bit more clinical. Even though we scored 5 goals, we need to be more clinical, because Messi here it's not like he saved our asses, but he was of course the main front runner and constantly being the threat for Barça. But other players like Anto Griezmann needs to step up a little bit more. Maybe Arturo Vidal, we had a lack of offsides and stuff like that. So yeah, I think Barcelona for Napoli are in a good place right now. That's going to be everything for today, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Be sure to stay tuned for the preview between Barcelona and Napoli. And I'm also going to be covering the game between Real Madrid and Manchester City. Moreover, we're also going to be doing live stream for both of those games. So be sure to stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Ciao.